Alright, hey, this is my first video, well, little rant video really. Should have posted this last month if I was smart, but I'm not, so, you know, just got to this when I could. Actually, my second take, technically, of this video, honestly. First take, formatted wrong, lost it, have to redo it, so, here we go. Been struggling a lot this summer. Usually my brand of seasonal depression happens during summer, so turns its ugly head. I just hate summer. Not a great time for me. Haven't really been getting enough sleep lately either. Been really stressed with work and personal things and insomnia, so you know, causes a decline in my mental and physical health because the two tend to be interconnected, I find. But I'm trying to force myself back up, getting sorted out again. I want to put myself back into my hobbies and do something that I've been thinking about multiple times since I was like 18. So it's been a few years. Been thinking about this. So part of that recovery is doing this video. Thought about it since like high school probably. I guess what stopped myself from making this video is I didn't feel like I could articulate myself properly or in a very organized way. Because I have ADHD, I tend to jump around a lot in my head and get to think too hard about things and that sort of thing. However, I'm older now, more secure with myself. I've made progress on myself, and I feel like now it is a good time to start talking about this stuff, get my voice out there, because I think my voice could be one that could help among the many other voices that are out here, I'm sure, already. I basically just want to talk about what it's like to be transgender, what it is, how I came to be, just about my life in general. Maybe it partially just to be therapeutic to myself, and then hopefully people watch and find it relatable, or I don't know, maybe I could help someone else going through that. I mean, the first time I heard the term transsexual, it was from a YouTube short film. It was an FTM individual coming to terms with themselves. They showed them cutting their hair, changing their name, coming out to parents, that sort of thing. It was like a 5 to 10 minute video. I forget really. It's been a while. I tried looking for it before and couldn't find it anywhere. Hopefully I can find it sometime, but that was my first introduction to these feelings that I was struggling with for a really long time throughout my life. It was the first time I had a term for it, and I was like, oh shit, this isn't just me, this is something some people go through. It was nice. Then I found like AMV style music videos about people going through it and found those relatable and introduced me a little more into that world. That's how I found my information. That's how I found validation for my feeling. Along the way of struggling with my identity and who I was, I found Blair White's videos. And then Calvin Garra, who peddled this transmedicalism beliefs and stuff, which at the time I found validating for me personally, and I thought that that's what helped me come to terms with myself at first, were these beliefs. I've since don't subscribe to the transmedicalism stuff anymore. I moved away from that, but it is what my stepping stone was, and I still don't regret that because it's ultimately what made me who I am now, I think. So, but I'd like to talk about it, and maybe talking about my experiences here will help people not fall to those beliefs like I had, or maybe it'll, open people up to researching themselves and all this other stuff. I don't know. I don't really want to get overtly political, though, is the thing. I just mention those names and that experience because it is part of my past, and I want to talk about what my journey was and how I've come to be who I am and get the word out of these experiences because they're valid. I don't know, maybe my information and my experiences will help someone else, like I said. Just some thoughts. I never really opened myself to even much of the LGBT community when I was younger at all. Like, I kind of stayed away from it when I was younger. Up until I was like a sophomore, junior era, I sort of started putting myself out there enough to understand what all that was again. I think it was because I grew up religious. It sort of had an impact on me, even though my mom wasn't really overtly super religious about her beliefs. We did go to church, but it wasn't super strict in our beliefs when I was younger. It was just, I went to church, and it was like, my mom didn't talk badly. My mother didn't talk badly about the gays, but it was like let's not look that direction sort of thing, and that's why I never really opened myself up to those things until high school. I think was just this undertone feeling from going to church that, like, let's not look toward the LGBT stuff. Like, God says it's a man and a woman sort of thing. My father, on the other hand, was a little more religious, pushed more of those gender stereotypes a little bit. Although he had long hair, and he wanted all his children to have long hair, not just me, who was born female. So not even he was super homophobic and all that. It was just, when it came to actually talking about sexuality and stuff, that's not something that happened. It was just, it's a man and a woman sort of thing. Sometimes I wonder if I had been more direct about what I was struggling with when I was as young as probably 5. I was struggling with it. Maybe if I had been more direct, it would have made it easier for the eventual acceptance of my family. But I don't know. Some kids go through phases, and I feel like they might have just brushed it off as that. Even when I look back and try to think what if, I still think they probably would have brushed me off, which is what stopped me from ever talking in the first place, Because, kids go through phases. It's just a phase. I mean, I understand some kids do just go through these phases that are just phases, but it's important regardless, I think, for a child to explore that identity of themselves and letting them go through that, talking to them about how they see themselves, and let them discover it as they grow up, because that's what growing up is supposed to be. Finding out, discovering yourself, learning, That's not how it went for me, though. I didn't really come out until high school, and even maybe like the last 2 years of high school I came out. Even then, though, it was more like I was just, oh yeah, I like to portray myself as more masculine. I like to wear pants, that sort of thing. I cut my hair a little shorter and a little shorter as I was permitted to finally from my parents to cut my hair. I just slowly began going shorter and shorter. And then it wasn't until I actually turned 18 that I was fully came out and was like, I want to do this. I want to transition. This is who I am. This is what I want. I think the sudden way I came out was a little shocking to my family, just because I didn't really come out to them much. I mostly came out to my friends before, and then when I was 18, I just sort of made this vague announcement that this is who I am, this is what I'm doing. I thought it would be easier that way. I would get less pushback because, I was 18. No one could say anything, really. It was just me living my life. But, it was a struggle for them, and it caused me to have sort of a rocky relationship with my mother for a few years, with her trying to. She wanted to accept me. She did. And I just came out so suddenly. I think it just shook her, so every once in a while she'd get pushed back, and she'd randomly pull up these statistics she would look up about, but these people regret their transition, so maybe you should think about it more or be careful. But the thing is, I had been thinking about it since I was like 5. I already was thinking about it all the time. I thought too much about everything before I even came out. She didn't know that, though. And while to me it felt like she was trying to talk me out of being who I am, I don't think she meant it that way. Don't get me wrong, I have a great relationship with my mother now. We've overcome everything, and I love her dearly. She's my best friend. But it was a journey. I don't blame her at all. I think it was just sudden for, me being her 4th child, and then the first one that really opened her up to this other world of gender identity and all that, and it was just hard for her trying to understand. That's why I think sometimes if I said something sooner, maybe we could have went on this journey together from when I was like 5, and we could have discovered this, but I didn't have the heart to do it before. I was paraded around in the family as the only girl, so I didn't want to take that away. I felt like I was robbing them if I tried to come out too directly about these desires, or came out to them about the way I see myself. Because, I knew ever since I was little, I would, purposely, when I played Pokemon, I'd pick the male. I would play Zelda and immerse myself into being Link, and I knew what I wanted, but I couldn't bring myself to say it because I didn't want to feel like I was robbing my family of what they wanted, how they saw me. It's a harmful way to think, but it's just how I thought. I don't know. That's why I find my story important to tell. I can go more into this stuff in a later video, I think. I have a lot I want to talk about, honestly. I want to do more focused takes on my experiences. Give certain parameters and focus for other videos so that I can organize it a little better, because this one is still quite jumbled despite my attempts to organize the thoughts. Maybe a future more focused video I could do could be more about how religion impacted me and how I overcame that in order to discover who I was, sort of, what religious impact there was on me and all that. Because I think there was quite a lot that impacted me, despite only really going to church and not really being, super religious. I was allowed to play Pokemon and watch Harry Potter, unlike some of the other kids at church I went to school with who weren't allowed those kinds of things. My family were big rock and roll fans, so we still listen to rock and roll despite a lot of religious people not liking rock. Or I could go more into my experience of what I found appealing about transmedicalism and why I liked Calvin, or I could talk about my experiences watching Blair White, what I found appealing about that, how I found her, that sort of thing. Or I could talk about my personal journey with my mother and coming out to my family, gaining their acceptance, or how I feel like I stand with my family and extended family now. If anyone took the time to actually listen to all this, I appreciate you. Thanks for listening, I guess. I know this is all kind of a mess. I'm not great at organizing my thoughts. I have ADHD, so my thoughts get jumbled quite a bit, and I jump around, and sometimes I think of things and I just have to start talking about it, and then I don't know where I'm at, and that's why I have to look at my notes that I wrote down prior and figure out where I was before. Like, there's a lot of pauses in this I have to edit out, and yeah. Maybe I was helpful to someone. Maybe I validated someone's feelings, so that'd be nice. If you liked hearing what I had to say, or want to hear more about my experiences, my personal experiences, subscribe, leave a like, I guess, so I know that you actually watched this. And I hope you leave a comment, asking what more you want to hear in particular. I can try to make a focus video based on something. Create some more artwork that's more relatable to whatever topic it is I'm discussing. And hey, I hope you like the artwork I did for this video. It's my little persona that I thought of for myself, Obviously, as you can probably tell if you know what it is, I'm a huge Dragon Ball Z fan, so had to go with the armor, the tail, and then that I had the horns, because devil horns are fucking cool, right? And the horns are partially because of Homestuck. It was a fandom that I got really into in high school, and I think that's what's led me to really like the horn aesthetic, because horns are cool as hell to add to a character. Tried to make the armor colors of this related to the trans flag, because that kind of appeals to what this intro video is getting people to look at, to hear my experiences on that, basically. So I tried doing the trans flags because, pretty colors, and I didn't really know what other colors to use, so use that. Actually just thought of another topic idea I could do. I could discuss my experience with certain fandoms. I could just talk about fandoms in general, or do a focus video for each fandom I was a part of, and how I think that impacted me and helped me come out as to who I was, and accept myself and all that. And because I think the fandoms I was a part of did have a big impact on me, even Dragon Ball Z, as much as that is just a fun superhero punchy show. Dragon Ball Z I looked into a lot, and it was a passion of mine for a while. I really liked thinking about the characters on a deeper level and stuff, even if the creator of Dragon Ball doesn't really do that. I could also talk about what characters I did obsess over, and what their impact was on me, and why I felt a connection with these certain characters and that sort of thing. That might be a cool video to do. Anyway, thanks for listening if you made it all the way through. I hope you have a great day, or have a good night. Get some sleep. If you need sleep, try to get some sleep. And goodbye.